Okay, everybody, here we are at our next location. We're here at Ares Brazilian Jiu Jitsu in Roseville, California. We're going to be training with Rebecca McLean. She is a self-defense instructor specializing in Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. We're going to go in. Let's go meet her. Hey, everybody. Here I am at Ares Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. I kept trying to say Brazilian. I had to practice it, but I got it. So here we are at Ares Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. Okay, that was one too many.
We can say BJJ too.
BJJ's in Roseville. This is Rebecca. You may have seen her before. What do you do? Let's talk about that.
So here at Ares, I do work front desk, so you'll see me here every single day. But I also teach the women's, well, it's not necessarily considered a self-defense class. However, BJJ is a form of self-defense. So I teach the women's BJJ class, typically in the gi. This is why you see me in a gi. This is what I love and where I'm really comfortable, but we do gi, no gi, and I really do like to stay very self-defense based.
Good. And from what I understand, Brazilian Jiu Jitsu is very helpful. I remember back in, was it 93, 92, the first time I saw Royce Gracie.
Yeah.
And I thought, man, this little guy is going to go up against this guy, and he would, it didn't matter. It was all about technique.
Changed the game.
It changed the game,
yeah.
And now it's so popular. But it's not that it's popular. I believe that it's useful.
It is.
It's
very useful for self-defense. I mean, of course, you know, you have your chokes and your joint manipulation and all of that, which is going to be very useful in a fight. But, you know, a lot of fights go to the ground, and why we say, like, for women and children especially, is because if you're, you know, most likely going to want to know something that's going to help you in a control situation, because most likely in an attack, you're going to be picked up, thrown to the ground, knocked to the ground, shoved, tried to be controlled.
Or even tripped.
Yeah. So, you know, it's important for somebody to have something. We use, they say alavanca is a leverage, timing, technique. It's all important. It's all going to be more important if you're going up against somebody who's larger and stronger. Because strength really, that's not what we do here. We do a lot of technique, a lot of leverage, a lot of timing. That's just going to make it not easy, but it's going to make it to where somebody who is smaller, like a child or a woman or anyone, that would be able to not have to worry about someone's strength and power coming towards them necessarily, especially if it's an untrained person. So if we're talking an angry person that's just out to attack, a predator who's looking for prey, and then there's so much more. I mean, like,
yeah, I've seen, again, like I
confidence,
said,
yeah.
My first introduction to it was Royce Gracie in the UFC, and right away, it wasn't about strength, like you said.
Yeah.
It wasn't about strength, it's about technique. And it's about heart.
Yes.
It's about technique and heart.
You have to have heart. And they say, there's even a company that sells like gis and belts that says embroidered on them, you can't teach heart. You can't train heart. Like, it's not something you can give to someone. Either you have that or you don't have that. Either you fight to have it or you don't. And that's the thing, is like jiu-jitsu shows you, do you have the will to survive? Have you been attacked? Have you fought through that? And if you haven't, how do you have anything to really measure it? You know, like,
correct.
If I've never been in a fight, then I don't know what that's going to be like, right? So if I have been in a fight, then I know how hard it is. Like, it's very taxing physically. It's, you know, horrible on your energy, you know, it's a negative energy, and it's traumatic no matter what happens. Even if you win the fight, you walk away from it with a certain level of trauma now to your brain, because it's not something that we're supposed to be doing.
Right. Well, what you're talking about is training.
Yeah.
You're training. You know,
Yeah.
we don't have to be fighting all the time to
No.
understand how to apply the techniques and how to be effective.
Yeah, and knowing that you know the technique, knowing that you drilled it and you spent the time training it and you do this for fun all the time, you walk around with a certain level of confidence now, because it's like, I don't need to fight anybody. You're more peaceful. They call it the peaceful art, right? you're more peaceful because you know that it wouldn't take much for you to literally destroy someone.
Right.
So why? You know, you don't
and
need
it's
it.
all about, I just love the fact that it's about technique. It's not about anger or strength or anything else. It's about the technique and the control and the calmness.
Yes.
That's what I love about the martial arts.
And a lot of people have that misconception that it's all this, you know, you have to have this aggression. And yeah, it does take a level of aggression, but when you're calm in the eye of the storm, you can think, you can remember the technique, you can remember exactly what you're supposed to do and coach yourself in your mind. And like you said, when you have those fights, right, you're able to walk yourself mentally through what you're supposed to do to get to where you need to be.
Right.
Same
Controlled
thing.
aggression.
Yeah, to control it.
Controlled
I mean, like,
aggression.
this is what I tell people, brand new students. It is about control. I want the control and you want the control. Now, am I going to give you the control or I'm going to take the control from you? And that's the game that you play when you're on the mat. It's like they say human chess.
Human chess. Yeah, I've heard
you
that
have
before
to be
too.
thinking 2 steps ahead.
I've
Thinking
heard
2
that
steps
before
ahead.
too. Yeah, you're right. So just a quick history here. We've known each other for a few years.
Yes.
We met as correctional officers at the county level. And right away, my assessment was, this is somebody that's going to be there for me when I need her. She doesn't have nothing to prove. It's just the way she carries herself, the way she is. And that's what I respected about you all this whole time. And then I get to learn that you do Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. And then it all made sense.
And the ability to stay calm in the middle of that craziness, because sometimes it's just absolute chaos and it's out of control, and you have to be the one to say, I'm going to take that control. But having that skill to where you're training it all the time in martial arts or boxing, even if you're like taking control of yourself by getting yourself to the gym at 5 a.m. every single day, or
before work,
running, you know, every night when you're exhausted, or whatever it is, you know, if you have that skill, the ability to do that in your mind, because most people are like, oh, forget it, I'm tired, I'm going to sit back. You know, so if you have the ability to do that in your mind, then you have the ability to do something like we did, right? Or like you currently do, like where you go into a place where you're like, today, everything might hit the fan. And when it does, I'm going to stay in control of myself.
I'm going to be ready.
I'm going to be ready for the situation, no matter what that looks like. Because you can't even, nobody could even write about like what, you can't make this stuff up. You can't.
Yeah. So here real quick, we're going to get into some techniques here. And I just want to point out that no matter what martial art you do, what kind of training you do, it is a perishable skill.
Yes.
So you do have to make the effort to continue to grow, no matter what it is. So what you said you're a purple belt?
Journey. Yeah, so I'm a purple belt.
How long did it take you to get that?
So, 6 years.
6 years?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So, no, actually 5 years to purple belt. I've been a purple belt for almost 2 years. It'll be 2 years in June. So yeah, it took me 5 years to get my purple belt, but I've been a purple belt for almost 2 years. I'll be training 7 years in August. And you know, it's just this journey. That's what you have to be able to take this lifelong journey, because in Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, it's not like some other arts where you might show up for a year, 2 years, 3 years, get a black belt. Like, it takes a long time. If you're a phenom and you're constantly winning in competition, you might get a black belt in 5, to 8 years. But if you're really, if you're in here training, no matter what life throws at you, like I had a baby last year, my son just turned 1, right? So
only one? You only have one kid?
I have 4.
You have 4 kids.
I have 4 kids, but last year,
and you still find time to do
I
this.
gave
Awesome.
birth to a baby that was 10.5 pounds. No, so I was working at the jail, but also training, and I never stopped training. So my entire pregnancy, up until the week I gave birth, I was still training. Now, I wasn't training dangerously. I wasn't putting myself in any position to, be hurt or injured in any way, but I was drilling what I could drill. If that meant like somebody was like, here's my foot, like do a foot lock on me, and I did 100 reps of a foot lock, that's what I did, because that's all I could do. But I did not stop. And this is where that mental comes in, right? People were like, why are you even on the mat? And I'm like, I'm going to sit here and watch class and I'm going to watch the technique, and then I'm going to drill whatever I can off to the side, even if I'm over here doing some stretches by myself. Because
awesome.
being in the atmosphere of it, you're still absorbing, and
Yes.
watching something, you're still absorbing. I was like, I'm not going to let a whole year go by where I don't train at all. It's just not going to happen. So now, like, my baby, he's a natural on the mat. And he literally does stuff where people are like, how did he just do that? And I'm like, I really attribute that to the fact that I was training with him in my belly. I had him on the mats very, very young. He comes with me every Friday when I teach class. The ladies call him Coach James. Like, you know, it's just a thing, right? So it's been this whole family affair where all my children
Nice.
have trained, my husband, like we all train, right?
Anyway, in closing here, I just want to say thanks for your time.
Yeah.
And I guess I'll take my shoes off and
We're gonna get on the mats. So he's gonna be drilling jujitsu drills for the first time, right?
I've done a little bit here and there
In the
with
gi?
not in the gi.
Okay, we're gonna do gi jujitsu for the first time with Castillo. So this is gonna be really fun for me.
Good.
Okay.
Well, I think it's going to be fun for me too.
It's gonna be fun for you. It is. You're gonna love it.
All right.
Honestly, people, you know, they get on the mat with it, no idea. They have no idea what to expect as far as, especially in gi jiu-jitsu. It's different. It's different from no gi. And then once they get into it, they're like, wow, like I have to keep doing this, because it's literally once you do it, like in your mind, you're like, how did I just accomplish all of that?
Yeah.
And then you want to do more because you want to see how much more you can accomplish. It's
All right.
pretty incredible.
Okay, I'm ready to go.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go. To drill it, we kind of have soft knee and bend a little bit. Your chin needs to be to your chest. We don't ever want to hit our head back. Like when you fall back, I don't want to see your head coming back. So chin to chest, and look at your knees the entire time. You're going to go down, and I'm still looking at my knees. Okay, and I'm going to have kind of a soft open palm and slap the mat with my palms out at about like a 45 degree. Chin to chest, chin to chest. Very good. And you can take a nice breath outwards too when you do it if you want to. Yeah. Good. Okay. You're perfect. That was the shrimp. We're protecting our head. Okay, we have our feet flat. We don't ever want to do this kind of thing. We want to have our knees up and bent, ready to escape. And the shrimp is like the number one escape you need for Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So we're going to bring our butt out. So I'm going to scoot my butt out towards you. And then I'm going to come back to the center. And I'm going to go to the other side. Okay. So if you were walking towards me, okay, walk up towards me. Okay. If you're on my side control, like you're like down here on your knees and your side control. Sure. Okay. Just easy.
This way?
Yep. Push your butt like over exaggerate. Really push butt away. Yes. Good. Good. Sitting next to you. Yep. Second drill, now we're going to go forward. So this time, we're going to sit in a similar position, but I'm still blocking off my head. This time I'm going to go like an oblique crunch. I'm going to go elbow to knee. And then I'm going to go to the other side, and I'm going to walk forward.
Hold on, bud. Get the baby. Grab the baby. Right? Being near him is not good enough. Bud, come here. Bring the baby over here. There are adults, and so if they are doing something like throws or takedowns or sweeps or something, you can get squished, right? So your job is to not just go run next to him while he's going over I've seen all these little
Like,
clips
I
and
do this, like, muscle memories, I do it so fast that you don't do it all the time. Just so you can take
check
it
that
for
may go
yourself.
faster. I can't remember what
I tend to want to
some of the other things she was telling me were.
I'm losing form.
This style of jiu-jitsu, because it makes you think about doing in a very physical way.
In our surf ball,
Now, my thing is, when I tell
Okay.
So you're saying that you kind of wanted to rush through that, and
Yeah.
this is where in my classes I would tell my students why. Why do you want to rush through that thing? Write it down. When you go home, whatever it is that you struggle with on the mat, it's not just physical, it is mental and emotional, but you're finding out because you're expressing it through a physical, in a very physical way.
We're having to push yourself.
Yes, this is where I found out I had PTSD on the mat because I didn't know that you could get PTSD if you weren't in the military. I literally didn't know that. And so I had to figure those things out on the mat and then go home and write about it and get help for it. And, so it's one of those things where if you're struggling with something here and you recognize like, hey, why do I want to rush this thing? That could be like, okay, off the mat, maybe you're struggling, you're rushing things in every other area of life, at work, at home, relationships, money, like whatever it is. So you really have to think about those things, and that's what makes you think very technically.
Right. Yeah, you calm down and you're forming a structure is what you're doing because we don't have that structure because of all the traumas and PTSD that got us off balance. So I can, exactly right.
Retraining your mind and your body. I'm gonna have a knee up and a hand out, right? And on the side that my knee is up, my hand is out, and this leg is down. And I can go backwards, and I can come forwards. I'm gonna be backing up, backing up, backing up. And if I need to move and be mobile, then I can go side to side. Come forward, backing up. Can kick somebody in the leg. Take a kneecap, right?
Okay. Here.
Let's be forward.
Forward.
Let's get back. Now you can switch. Be mobile. Be able to switch sides.
Yeah.
One side struggles more than the other usually.
Yeah.
Backward. Somebody's
That's why
coming
you
towards
train.
you. Somebody's coming towards you.
Okay.
Yep. It's intimidating when somebody's moving at you. So side control, I'm going to do just very basic side control. So you would be laying down on your back, right, with your knees up, so back. Yep, knees up, come this way a little bit. So side control looks like this. You want to control underneath someone's armpit with your knee, hip with your other knee. And I'm going to come up underneath your head, and this is a cross face. And then I'm going to come underneath this arm with my other hand. Chest to chest-ish, right? But if I just do this like this, you can escape. Go ahead and shrimp. Put your frame, shrimp away. Go ahead. Super easy, right? Now, if I use my technique, I didn't feel very heavy, right?
No.
If I use my technique, I'm going to pull you in closer to me. Turn your face away.
Yeah.
I want to look for that knee controlling an armpit, knee controlling in the hip. And you can also follow my hip.
Knee on the armpit, knee on the hip.
Basic.
Okay.
This one's coming under my head. Yep, and this one's coming under. Now, if I get into this position, this is where I want to be able to do my shrimp, right?
Right.
This is a frame, so I'm going to have one hand here, one under into your hips. Now,
You know what? I moved my knee. That's what gave you that elbow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you got to pay attention to those things because I
Yeah.
can frame in here. Now,
Now
this
you
is how
got-
I'm going to really get my shrimp. Now,
Right.
even if you're being strong with me, right?
Right.
Yep. Now, if I can get even like one frame, it's going to be a little bit easier for me to escape. But if you're using really good technique and I can't get in here, it's going to be harder for me to escape. You see?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Holding on is
Because
difficult.
then you have to follow, because eventually what happens is if let's say I'm doing those movements, and you let up even for a second,
Right.
that's my second. Now,
Right.
and what is that? What is the thing that makes us quit? It's our brain, okay?
Yeah.
The thing that makes us quit is I'm in this bad situation, I give up,
Yeah.
I surrender.
So if you're not in a position where you have to tap, like it's good to tap, you need to tap if you're hurting, like before there's pain, there's too much pressure on a joint, if you're getting choked, tap. But if it's just that chest-to-chest pressure, like I can work my escapes. What I would typically do in that situation, right? Let's say I made a mistake. You don't have to go back to this thing. I made the mistake to let you on top of me. Okay? So if I let you on top of me, that was my error, but now I have to go back and I have to get out of that situation. So now I'm going to coach myself, and I would have done exactly what I was doing. If you had me like that and you had a really good side control, I'm going to keep climbing until you make a mistake.
Until I make a mistake, yeah.
And then I'm going to get my leverage, my timing, my technique. And that's jiu-jitsu.
Jiu-jitsu in a nutshell. All right, Rebecca, thank you so much for the tutelage. Thank you so much. Yeah, this definitely about technique and not strength, because I may be physically stronger than her, but it didn't have any bearing on some of the techniques we did. So thank you so much. Thank you to Ares here in Roseville. Beautiful facility, beautiful room. It's just nice and simple, but you walk in and it's got a presence.
Yeah.
It's got a presence.
It's very peaceful and calming in here.
It's peaceful and calming, but you know, it's just got this presence about it that you want to work.
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome. So thank you again so much. Thank you to Ares, and thank you everybody for watching, and we'll talk to you later.
Thanks, guys.